Alrighty, guys, we're back for Ferocious Gruel, and this is a Foundation standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. We got 4 Slumbering Cerberus, 2 mana, 4/2. This creature doesn't untap during your untap step, unfortunately. However, it has Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, untap this creature. Okay, I think that'll happen more often than you'd think, especially since that includes the opponent's creatures too, and this is very much the type of deck list that is making the opponent chump block, so yeah, neat. All right, we have 4 Bristlepack Sentries. This is a 2 mana, 3/3 with Defender, unfortunately. However, as long as you control a creature with power 4 or greater, Bristlepack Sentry can attack as though it didn't have Defender. I think more often than not in this deck list, it's just going to be a 2 mana 3/3, which is pretty darn good, actually. So we have 4 Picnic Ruiners too. It's a 2 mana 2/2. Whenever Picnic Ruiner attacks while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, it gets double strike. Okay, and then it also has that adventure side, which will activate sometimes too. Pretty decent card. We have 3 Ruby Daring Tracker, 2 mana, 1/2. It has haste. You can tap it for a red or a green source. And then also, when this attacks while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, Ruby gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Neat stuff. Okay, we also have Garruk's Uprising in here as a 4/of. It's a 3 mana enchantment. Whenever this enchantment enters, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. Okay, my goodness. And then also, whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, you draw a card. I think it's going to be terrific in here, but we'll see, honestly, because what ends up happening with Garruk's Uprising is if you have this on 3 and then turn 4 just looks like a Picnic Ruiner, well, you're not drawing then. What if your turn 2 also looked like a Picnic Ruiner? Well, again, you're not drawing off of the Garruk's Uprising on turn 3. So, of course, turn 2 Cerberus into a turn 3 Garruk's Uprising. Now, that does seem pretty decent, doesn't it? So what else do we got packed in? Well, to continue with the ferocious theme, Dragonhawk fakes Tempest here on the top end. Then also we have a Ghalta on the top end too. 12 mana, 12/12 trample. However, cost X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. So potentially getting this down to just 2 green mana, I think would be very, very easy in this deck list. So top end as a 1/of makes sense to me. Also have Halana back in standard. Let's go. All right, 4 mana, 2/3. First strike, reach. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you put X +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control where X is Halanda's power. That creature gains haste until end of turn. Pretty decent, man. And I'm opting for 3 of them this time because I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic in this deck list. So yeah. What about our 1-drops? Well, we actually don't have 1-drops, but we have 1 mana cards. They'll really do the thing. All 4 Monstrous Rage. Yep. We got 3 Tail Swipe. Okay. And then we have 3 Primal Mights as well. Guys, as you can see, I'm using a lot of reprints in this deck list. Please keep an eye on your collection. This, like Primal Mights from M21, for example, Hallandal, back from the Innistrad days, and then Ghalta. I don't even know what that symbol is, honestly. I don't remember playing while that symbol was around. So a lot of reprints. Keep an eye on your collection. Fabled Passage, right? Another reprint. That's from Bloomburrow, though. Reprint from Bloomburrow. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. Anyways, mana base, Fabled Passage, 4 Thornspire Verge, 4 Copperline Gorge, and a commercial district as well. I don't think the Verge is actually going to hold us up this time around since we have all the Fabled Passage, commercial district also counting as a mountain and a forest too. We are leaning green in this deck list, so like Verge only being a red source until we actually see a forest or a mountain is a little bit sketchy, but yeah, I don't think it's going to hold us up this time around. Honorable mentions. Giant Growth almost made the cut. Bulk Up could have been pretty cool in here. And then the Horn Beetle as well could have been neat. Okay, guys. I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video. So look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take this into some ranked and see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Dude, I don't know. I think it's actually going to be pretty decent, but I don't know, man. Standard's been rough. Everything's been really, really strong. So we'll see. We'll see. If at the very least, if nothing else, it's going to be fun. We go first. I don't see a great reason to mulligan, so we keep it, right? Probably just start with the turn 1 Fabled Passage. And it's probably going to be, based on the hand, a red source. That way, if we only see green mana, we'll still be able to play out Dragonhawk. And I hope that's okay. I think that'll be fine. And thinning out the deck early on is not going to be terrible for this one. We do have, ooh, Cerberus, nice. We do have 24 total mana in here. So we actually start with Cerberus so we can draw on the Garruk's Uprising. It's pretty good. Well, if Cerberus survives, of course. And if Garruk's Uprising actually lands on the board, too. Got some Bant colors up over there. They got Up the Beanstalk. All right. All right, there's another green source, which we'll actually play, right? We do have the swing. It'll just remain tapped for now. I think we still establish the Garruk's Uprising. It replaces itself, which is actually really good. And we'll go for that swing, even though it doesn't untap, because it's 4 damage, which just isn't bad. Although another Primal Might, maybe it would have been better to potentially pick up a creature with the Primal Might and have Cerberus untap that way. It's going to be an Overlord of the Hauntwoods anyway, so no creatures are hitting this board state anyways. We now have enough mana in hand to get the Dragonhawk down when it comes time. Outside of that, Picnic Ruiner's ability isn't that great right now. Distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. 4 mana just to get that onto a Cerberus that isn't untapped yet, over just like playing another creature. If we play another creature, they could just go Sunfall. Probably just Picnic Ruiner, right? I think that's fine. Spending all 4 mana to boost the Cerberus. We could go Picnic Ruiner next turn too, but next turn we probably want the Dragonhawk. So a little bit awkward, I would say, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Because now a Sunfall would be pretty tempting from the opponent, right? If they have it. It's a tapped land, so we might actually have the turn. Cerberus not untapping is pretty bad right now. Okay, they get a couple 2/1s. That does give us a creature to kill off with the Primal Might if we want to do it that way. And again, maybe we do just play around the Sunfall then. Sentry isn't bad. It's like full-blown Primal Might, pop a creature, swing on in. Pretty good, right? Let's do it. X is 4. Let's do it. What this lets us do, of course, is play around that Sunfall that we know is coming. Like, we know it's inevitable, and it's a great swing. Because it gets double strike, too. Double strike trample. Tramples off of the Uprising. Gonna go ahead and take 1 less because I think the plan is to wipe the board. We do untap the Cerberus because the creatures died. If we get to keep this board state, if they opt for chump blockers, that's really bad for them because our creatures have trample. I think they need to wipe this board. Oh, it's a Zur. That's pretty good too, man. They have enough mana to power one of these up. It's gonna be... Oh, crap, the lifelink, dude. And they get the ability off of the Overlord of the Mistmoors. Depending on what this is... Okay, first of all, we go no blocks. They're going up to 12 regardless, and we're going to want that Cerberus around. Fabled Passage, we do that. We'll grab a forest here. Primal Might for 5 on the Picnic Ruiner. Fight the Zur. Is that going to be game, actually? So much damage, dude. X is 5. Picnic Ruiner. Pop the Zur. Oh my goodness, man. So much damage on this board. 18 total trampling damage. They can block 2 of these successfully. It's like I said, whatever's left, like their Verge, is open. And that matters. I guess we got there. Even an Elspeth Smite, though, on the Cerberus, if it was just an Elspeth Smite, then Cerberus would have died. We still would have gotten him down to 0. That being said, of course, the Verge taps for a blue source, too. The Flood Farm Verge is what they had. So if it was like into the Flood Maw onto the Picnic Ruiner, then I think that easily would have been the opponent's game there, but we just pushed some serious damage through, man. Holy cow. Picnic Ruiner really showing off with that double strike, huh? Cool stuff. Let's keep the ball rolling. Opponent, what you bring into the table? Some dinos? I'd like that. I'd like to see some dinos versus this. 2 different versions of Gruul, you know? Speaking of 2 different versions of Gruul, we go first. This is a really bad hand, right? We're going first. We have what, 15 2-drops? All right, let's try it. That last game was so good that we might as well see what happens. Plus, we have the Surveil land for turn 1 here, so 4th mana. Okay. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's see what the opponent's playing here, too. It's actually going to be Golgari colors. They got the Scry land over there. Okay, Fable. And we're going to hold off on that for now. Or we could thin the deck for the turn, which wouldn't be terrible. Right? Yeah, actually. Thinning the deck wouldn't be bad here, I suppose. Yeah, because we don't want to see a 5th mana right now. Grab a green source, I would say. Okay, Monstrous Rage, not bad. It's going to be a very awkward turn, isn't it? It's going to be a very awkward game, maybe. Guess we'll establish the Uprising. Doesn't replace itself. Gets onto the board. It might not even survive, guys. This could be a tear asunder. Probably worth playing because Hallandale... Yeah, I mean, Hallandale's only a 2-3, so when you play this after the fact, we're not drawing on the Garruk's Uprising after it's already on the board, right? From the Hallandale, I should say. Bristlepack Sentry, okay. Alright, it was a very slow start, and establishing Hallandale now probably just means its demise. But, not going to stop me from trying. Give haste to the Sentry, right? Sentry would be a 5/5. So, of course, it would lose Defender at that point, too. We do have to watch out, though. This time we don't have the Trample from the Uprising. So, I mean, Monstrous Rage will do pretty good, too. I guess you could go Monstrous Rage onto Hallandale first. Hallandale's not going to survive the turn, unfortunately, guys. And they pass it back with 2 mana open. Another Fabled Passage. We're definitely going to do that. And I guess we'll do it now. Another green source, right? I think our mana base is... Yeah, what we have on the board is fine. Another green source is totally fine. Sentry doesn't have haste. No point in playing anything else out here. Too bad we don't have protection for our creatures. If we did, though, we probably would have tried to wait for turn 5 for Hallandale anyways, even though there was no guarantee of a 5th source off the top. It was a weird hand, man. We easily could have mulliganed. Okay. Another Overlord is a problem. I got 1 mana open. We might actually have a pretty good swing for the turn. The first Overlord is about to become a creature. More mana off the top, guys. That is terrible news. However, when it comes time to boost the Sentry, maybe the Primal Might will take care of the first Overlord easy peasy then. Right. Monstrous Rage, so that way Sentry can attack, right? And we go for it, I guess. I guess we could go X is 4 if we want to swing for 10. I guess. Do we want to? No, probably not, because if Sentry sticks around... Yeah, if Sentry sticks around, then we're going to need multiple pieces of removal, probably. If it doesn't stick around, it is what it is, I guess. Yeah, more mana is really bad, but maybe it works out in our favor when it comes time. It's a lot of mana open and Restless Cottage open too. Another Monstrous Rage. Wow. So now we can do X is 4, bristle back to 8, and then have Monstrous Rage still. But there's probably a small chance of it surviving. And it already has the trample. Monstrous Rage actually only given it a boost of 2. It is just going to be regular spot removal for the Sentry. Oh no, and it's so efficient too. Just an Anoint with Affliction. Oh no, guys. Oh no. We're in danger. Yeah, what's cool about the Primal Might is if they have no creatures to target, you could still go +X+X. And then it fights up to 1 target creature. And that's actually just really neat, isn't it? I'd say they take the Primal Might over the Monstrous Rage. It's looking like a nice, clean victory for them at this point in the game. But I'm not going to drop the mulligan because I do want to see more off the top. And the opponent's playing it out fast as well. So this could be over in just a couple turns, especially if they play a nice chunky creature here. They don't, and they also did not swing with the cottage either. So Ruby's pretty good. We'll go for it. We'll try. We'll try a swing. I don't think it's going to work out, but I guess you never know. It does not work out. It's actually just a Harvester of Misery, too. Every time I see that card, I say it's a little bit underplayed. It kind of is. So Harvester of Misery tells me they must have some reanimation cards in here, right? I think so. They go for just the swing of 6, and I guess clean it up next turn with the cottage then. Or just double Overlords. I guess that also works. More mana off the top is terrible, and after this game we have to consider 23, but not yet. More testing required. Grab another forest, drop the opponent the GGs, and let them swing on in. So yeah, with Harvester, it could be Golgari Reanimator, which actually seems like it could be really good. With Overlord in here, they could easily have Atraxa on the top end too. At that point, it's just like normal Reanimate. We see Sultai Reanimator, right? But Golgari can also run Squirming Emergence. But when you go Sultai, you have more ways to mill early on. But depending on what the deck list is trying to do, it looks like they were very mid-range. You can see it. Guys, we're seeing just a huge variety in Standard. How about you? Let me know in the comments. What are you seeing the most of? The most devastating ones that I've been up against is actually Boros and the variations of Boros. Boros, Auras, Boros, Burn have been devastating. All right, we keep this. I am concerned about the 4 mana now, but we should be fine. But overall, seeing a great variety, I would say. Even the Boros decks that we are seeing a lot of have like different versions of each one that we're seeing. It kind of feels like people are putting their own little twists onto it. We keep any creature we see. All right, Forsaken Miner. And then, since we have Dragonhawk, I want them to deck with Fable. Actually, that would be terrible anyways, because we actually want a turn 2 here. And it's going to be Sentry, I guess. Let's see what our next turn is. If it was a Garruk's Uprising, that's awkward, because then Cerberus would have been a much better play. But that also kind of sort of works, I guess, as we could play Cerberus later on. Tailswipe's decent. Tailswipe's really good, actually. Take care of the Caustic Bronco right here, right now. Still have the swing on the Sentry. And play the second Sentry, probably. Also, yeah, there's a lot to think about there, actually. They'll play the other Sentry. But Tailswipe, of course, is a little better once Cerberus is on the board, so it can eventually untap Cerberus. Oh, Tiny Bones. Ew. Ew. Okay, Monstrous Rage isn't bad. Tiny Bones cleans up what they want. We could go Monstrous Rage onto the other creature or go opt for the trampling damage too, I suppose. Grab a red source on the Fabled Passage, based on our hand especially. Red source. Okay. We also could have waited. If we wanted to find more mana, we didn't need to thin the deck list. That's also a possibility. We want to be able to swing with the Sentry, so we play Cerberus. Yeah, see, we could have kept the Fabled Passage without any worries for the turn. Now we can swing with the Sentries. See if they block anything. They might just keep the Tiny Bones around. Now we have the option to slip some extra trample damage through or just go onto the Sentry that's already getting through. If we go onto the Sentry that's already getting through, they could just spot remove and be pretty happy about it probably. So I guess we'll go on to the one that's already dying to kind of get some excess damage if they do have spot removal. So they're down to 8. We do lose that creature because of the Death Touch. But I think that was worthwhile. They had 2 swamps open, and not knowing what's in the opponent's hand. Oh my goodness, Sheoldred on turn 4. Crap, dude. That's not good. Blocks everything beautifully. Hallandale, all right. Hey. Thinning the deck list. Worked out. Not bad. So I guess we could go question mark. I don't know what I want to do here. Sentry, Cerberus, Sentry, right? 5/5. They could take the 5, they block there. We just keep Cerberus back as a 4/2 creature that can swing next turn then. And if they block, it's a trade, and it's a really good trade for us, man. Or they could take 5 down to 3. They go back up to 5. We got a terrific board state. If they get some chump blockers down and remove this Hallandale, they're right back in this. At that point, anyone's game. If we see mana off the top, though, if they end up... Oh! Gix's Command. Oh, okay, they're actually... Wait a minute. Okay, we're probably going to take the 8 here, first of all. They go back up to 9, right? We could block the Forsaken Miner, but I'm pretty sure we take 8. So they chose Lifelink, and opponent sacrifices a creature with highest power among creatures instead of going the destroy each creature with power 2 or less, which would have hit the Hallandale. Then the bottom ability also would have cleaned up the 5/5. Ruby, Daring Tracker, that'll do it, man. That'll do it, huh? All right. Very nice. We got to keep the Hallandale on the board. Yeah, Gix's Command, that scared the crap out of me. But they were feeling pretty safe by just going the lifelink route and actually boosting the... What did they end up being at? -2. So boosting the Sheoldred also wouldn't have gotten them there since we saw the Ruby. They would have been at exactly 0 if they boosted Sheoldred for lifelink instead. And if we missed the Ruby, we still could have seen mana for the Dragonhawk, and then Hallandale again could have given that haste, which would have been insane, and an insane amount of extra damage pushing through. However, for the opponent then, it would have been best to go power 2 or less, and then the bottom ability 2 to clean up 2 of our creatures. But then they would have missed the life gain, so I don't know. That's tough, man. That's tough. Like, it's always easier to look at it after the fact and say, like, oh, well, this, or this would have been better. But then realistically, in the moment, it's really hard to actually know what would have been better, because also whatever they did could have just changed what we ended up doing too. So yeah, there's a lot to consider there. Let's keep the ball rolling. There's a few weird interactions with our cards heavily relying on the ferocious side of things. But overall, feels kind of decent, doesn't it? It feels good. Yeah, we'll see if we can keep it up. Tailswipe kind of feels like it should be a 4 of in here. Feels like it would be really great all the time. Go first, we'll see what we can pull off here. Gonna be a Heartfire hero that we can't deal with right away. All right. All right, we'll see. Okay, it's just a mountain. It's not Boros, but that's still, I mean, be real, mono red is still pretty dangerous. Manifold Mouse. Now what's the target? Is it mouse? Well, they're both mice, but you guys know what I mean. Is it the Manifold Mouse or the hero? Okay, we gotta take the 4 here. We don't want to lose Cerberus to something so silly. Verge is pretty good. I don't mind seeing more mana because Hugs might be a terrific blocker here. I'm pretty sure we need to pop the hero, but letting them keep the Manifold Mouse around, dude, like this is gonna be rough. It is. Maybe they trade. We're going down to 14. Maybe we swing with Cerberus and they trade. I think they take the 5 though, and they take it happily, right? Now Cerberus does untap, which is pretty decent. It is a pretty slow turn. This is where a double tail swipe in hand or something would have been great. So thinking about more tail swipe already for the deck. But we have a lot of fight spells. We do have 3 of the other fights as well. We go double strike onto the mouse, and we're actually going to just take this because they have 1 mountain open. We block and they go Monstrous Rage. We're devastated. So they just go shock onto the Cerberus. We could have successfully had a block here. Well, maybe. I guess they could have changed their line of play. Tail swipe. Crap. All right, Hugs for X is 0 because it's a 5/5, and that should be hard enough for them, right? And guys, why did I not play my mana? Guys? No, the misplay. What on earth, bro? Oh, Hugs, the bottom ability, additional land. That's what it was. Okay, so did I have the mana then? Because we needed double red, double green. There you go, double strike onto the mouse. There's a plains. Well, I guess if it's Sheltered Regos, they would have done it before combat, right? We just like take the damage and hope that we don't die here. We might die. They got they got 10 on the board. Crap, we were forced to block. What did I do, bro? What did I do? Okay. That one was my fault. 110%. But you guys let me know in the comments. Did I have the mana to play Hugs and then keep a green source open when we play our second land? What land did I play for that turn is what I'm asking, because I actually don't know right now. Because when I saw that glowing, I was like, crap. We could have had the tail swipe for the turn, but then after the fact, I'm not sure because I don't remember what land I ended up playing. Right? Because, for example, if we had double mountain in hand, then it wouldn't have worked anyways. We would have still only been able to play mountain, get the Hugs down, play the other mountain. But if it was like the Verge, I feel like it was double mountain, so maybe that's just how it worked out. And also there at the end too, we could have blocked, they had 10 regardless, though. We could have blocked Manifold Mouse, the double strike. We've taken 5 less. They had Burst Lightning. Maybe blocking Manifold Mouse would have meant they plugged Rage onto Swift Spear. Burst Lightning our face anyways. I think we were gonna lose regardless. So, you know, I'm still gonna blame myself for that one. But I'm pretty sure even optimized, there we go, optimized plays would have still led to a loss in that one in particular. But you never know. Never know, especially in that early game too. Guys, hey, while I have you here in the middle of the video, make sure you check out that description where we have that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. And then also if you like the video, make sure you drop it a like. And then also if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing because it really does help out the channel. So thank you guys. Opponent goes first. Red source on the passage. All right, we'll give it a shot, but if it's another really fast deck list, then we might be in danger. Yeah, when you see those Boros lists or mono red lists that are similar to that, right, then actually the Sentry should be a pretty good card. 3/3 defender, even if you're not swinging with it. All right, Fabled Passage going to grab a red source, even though I really don't want to thin the deck list. We don't want to go forest and then awkwardly not have a turn 2 by not seeing what we need to see on top. We're just opting for a turn 2 and hoping that 24 mana is enough to see 4 on 4 for the Halana. Mountain. Day of Judgment. Great, great, right? So I'm going to opt for Cerberus, even though it might stay tapped. Tail Swipe in hand could pop like a potential chump blocker or something. Cerberus is like a pretty weak counterspell for the opponent, I would say, since they plan on having this stay tapped and probably won't have too many creatures for us to kill. So Picnic Ruiner would have been a counterspell, I think, depending on what kind of removal they're rocking in hand too. Jace. Huh. Okay. So Tail Swipe only hits other creatures, unfortunately. Sentry's not bad. Sentry's not bad, but we're still going to need to get a creature to 4 toughness since they're going to be hitting our Cerberus every time with that ability, right? So maybe it would still be Picnic Ruiner. Try for the... No, it's Sentry. We start with the swing. Jace is a very awkward card versus this deck, right? Yeah, since Tail Swipe is just a fight spell. Day of Judgment number 2 out of the opponent's deck list. The first one they discarded earlier. They go for the mill. All right. We actually miss land even after the mill. Wow. I guess we got a little lucky that they milled us, right? They're tapped out. We could establish the Picnic Ruiner. They got the plus to pretty much take care of Ruiner for as many turns as they need to. Maybe it's just like Garruk's Uprising. We establish something, it doesn't replace itself, but if we do see mana and it's a red source, can it at least try the Hugs, which would then replace itself. This is going to be a tough one, guys. Against control, especially this style of control, we're in danger, bro. However, turn 4 Halana probably still would have died anyways, but I think that would have been our best chance. We do find mana. It's tapped land, though. As a matter of fact, I don't mind the Surveil, though. But that was one of the worst lands that we could have seen, right? Outside of just another forest, because then Hugs still wouldn't have come down. But then we could have tried the Halana. We attempt. Commercial District. Ruby. I think we keep that. Like, any creature we see, we keep. And then we go Picnic Ruiner because we have nothing else to do for the turn. And it would be silly not to try to run this down. Like, if we kept this back, we're just giving them more card advantages. Now they didn't have to use, like, a counter spell, for example, right? That's a pretty good counter for the opponent, but we still have a lot of big things over here that can do really well versus what they're doing. So they got some Surveil. Plus on the Jace, so they can still successfully -2 without losing Jace next turn. With 5 mana open, we could play Hugs, go for the draw on the Uprising, or we could try Ruby. Ruby swings for 1, and that won't give them the -2. That gives them the +1. Alendao's such a good counter spell for them. All right. Well, let's see it, man. At least we have 2 Halendaos, right? So maybe. So again, Hugs probably would have been the counter too. Let's actually, okay. Okay. Yeah. So even if they didn't want to counter it, they still would have had Surveil 2, draw 2, which is still equally as brutal. -2 on Jace, still keeping it around. Also, if we played Hugs, it's not like when you cast a power 4 or greater, it does say whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater enters. So it actually has to enter too. Okay, 5th mana isn't bad. We could try an X's 1 Hugs. It is until the end of your next turn. Or we could go Ruby and tap Ruby, get a couple things down. If it's a 3rd Day of Judgment, then we're in danger. Maybe we do try Hugs for X's 1, because I don't want the other Hallandale to get countered. There's probably plenty of counter spells in the opponent's hand, though. And if we went Ruby and they go, right, 3 steps ahead onto Ruby, then we still only have 3 mana open, so we still would have missed the Hallandale anyways. So we're really just caught between a rock and a hard place for a while, I would say. We need to see what their top end looks like. They might not have a top end, and they might just go for Jace Mill as the victory. Garruk's Uprising. Is this the turn where we try Ruby and then tap the Ruby for the Hallandale? Because at least we'll have multiple things on the board, but we haven't seen a Sunfall from the opponent yet. All right, let's see. Because now if they counter Ruby, we still have the Garruk's Uprising, which again just kind of is just chilling. All right. Hallandale. Hey, it lands. Okay, now we have to expect a board wipe. And I'll tell you what, guys, if it is going to be a board wipe, we'll concede to get more games in, because I do think, especially if they don't play a top end. If they don't play a top end soon, then we'll just assume that the Jace Mill is the win condition. It's a Sunfall. Ah, brutal stuff, opponent. Let's see what's on top of the deck list and go from there. Become subdued. It's mana. No. Okay, good game, opponent. Let's take a look here. They actually got rid of a temporary lockdown. Also, a Union of the Third Path build. This looks disgusting, man. A really well-placed counter spells too. You guys let me know, did I play around these counter spells well enough? Like, we were expecting them to be there. We had to run into them eventually. If we held back, they're just drawing even more too. More mana off the top. Let's do it, guys. Let's drop the good game. Let's get into another one. Don't like conceding that often, but versus the control lists that take forever to actually get a win condition, we do concede sometimes. Unless it looks like we have a good chance of coming back, which I don't think we had a great chance there. Maybe with the double Garruk's Uprising, if we saw a creature that was power 4 or greater, then maybe. What do you guys think? Mid-video pack to warm up for the last game? Let's do it. It's a Foundations, so that's what we get. Ooh, it's a Mythic. Ooh, that's what you like to see. Mythic wild card. Whatever I want, huh, game? Golly, thanks. Can't they all just be wild cards, though? That would be cool. And a little bit overpowered, I guess, but still. All right, potentially the last game of the evening, guys. I'm relatively satisfied with how the deck list has played out so far. This is a great hand. Wow. I like it. I guess we'll start with Forest. I don't know why. I just start with the Forest. Okay, Rot Priest. Okay. Mana off the top, ramping into Hallandale would be beautiful. 24 mana in here. Really good chance. Really good chance. We actually just keep Ruby back as a blocker for the Rot Priest, and hopefully it doesn't die. But we don't want them to get the poison ball rolling. I don't think Monstrous Rage is something we want to do after the block, right? Maybe, though. Maybe. It's a way to deal with Rot Priest. Well, they probably keep protection open, though. If they tap out, I will go for that Monstrous Rage, but they also might just keep a blocker back instead of attempting the swing. Wow. They do end up tapping out. Keep the blocker back because we have a great block. Mana off the top. No. Ooh, Bristlepack Sentry is pretty decent, though. Could also just go Cerberus, so that way we could swing with the tracker, which is actually pretty good, too. Skrelv can't block. All right, Cerberus. Go for the swing on the Ruby. Gets +2/+2 since Cerberus has power 4. All right, down to 14. Should be scary when they only got brushlands over there. And it would have been much scarier if we ramped into that Hallandale. The problem right now that I'm seeing, number one, Hallandale only having 2 power means playing it out on curve after the Garruk's Uprising is actually pretty bad. But number 2 is it has such a huge target on its back that it dies pretty much no matter what. And by the time you get to your turn 4, it's having a rough time, man. I gotta be real with you though. I was pretty excited to play with Hallandale again. So something in the final thoughts is we're probably going to drop this down to 2, especially when seeing multiple of them right now. What did they do? Oh, they went Skrelv ability to make the Rot Priest slip by the Cerberus. Oh no, guys. Oh no. We're missing the mana. That's not good. That's not good at all. We're in danger, dude. Double strike. I don't think they block there. Bristlepack Sentry. We might start with the swing, see if we want to go Monstrous Rage onto something. We should probably swing, even though we're in danger. That's a lot of poison on their board, dude. We could die next turn, but it's probably Sentry. If we go Monstrous Rage, we only got 10. That kind of locks their brushlands. So we might go Monstrous Rage, but then we won't have any blockers. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 poison. They do end up chumping. Five poison. We risk it because we're in danger. Missing that mana is terrible, guys. I think we're in danger regardless. We just slip as much through as possible, and we almost locked their brushlands down. They dropped the nice. We untapped the Cerberus because a creature died, so we do actually have the blocker. Tapped land for the turn. They have the Grove. But the brushlands are too dangerous. Okay, they're fine here. They're fine. They go Annex Sentry. Oh crap. Taking 5 poison on a full swing if that's what they want to do. With the green source open, I think... Opponent, no! Come back! They took 2 from the Skrelv ability, guys. Oh no! I think that was looking... great for them. I don't know if that was an accident or if that was their fun way of conceding. No, I think it was an accident because they're going on to Jawbone Duelist here, giving the Duelist an extra toxic from the Skrelv meant that Duelist double strike getting in for 4 total poison. Then they had 5 here, then 6. So it was 1 extra poison than what I ended up counting. However, they paid the 2 from the Phyrexian damage, so... yeah, 6 poison would have been getting through. We would have been in so much danger. Mana off the top literally wouldn't have done anything. Look at this hand. Like, pretty much all of our top end, no land. GG opponent. I think that was an accident, right? I can't really tell sometimes, though. They might have just been having fun, too. Sometimes even the opponents don't care that much about victories, and it's just like, hey... like, look what I can do. and right down to 0. All right, Ferocious Gruul. That was funny, man. That was funny. Here's the deck list again. Dropping a Hallandale. What are we going up? Not mana, right? 25 is too much. 24 feels right. And even though we didn't really get to see it there. Talking about the mana base, guys, with the... Let's rearrange here because I can barely have any room. So when we do have mountains and forests split here, you see 57% red, 60% green, so pretty much like an even split, but we have 1 less mountain because the Verge are only going to be mountain when you only see Verge and your other dual lands. That being said, they're not going to hold you up too much in this one. Usually it's just going to be Gruul dual land and a very powerful one at that because there's 11 cards that you can see here, plus Commercial District is a mountain and a forest, that's 12 cards, and then Fabled Passage as well, 16 land that you can see that just makes Thornspire Verge an incredible dual land. I don't think it's going to hold us up. Some deck lists, I do think the Verge is a problem. Not in this one, though. I think we're fine. If you think it's going to hold you up, then what you do is you can drop a mountain and go up a forest, or drop 2 mountains, go up 2 forests, right? That would be a similar concept then. You're just kind of running Verge as extra mountains. However, I think keeping the even split makes a lot of sense for this one. Oh, I know. I know what dropping the Hallandal can do for us, guys. Tail Swipe, number 4. How do you guys feel about that? Tail Swipe number 4. Or Hugs number 2. I like Hugs. I don't get to play with Hugs too often. What screams ferocious more than Hugs? I mean, look at that artwork, dude. So good. Ah, man. Also, if you end up flooding out with your 24 mana, then Hugs is great, isn't it? X for 2 on a 6 mana Hugs. You get a 5/5 trample on the board. Maybe you're drawing off of Garruk's Uprising too. Another Hugs could be great. Ghalta double green. It's a little bit sticky. We only got to see that last game Ghalta, right? Where we only saw 2 mana and they were both lands. Double green on Ghalta is a problem. I would maybe consider a third Dragonhawk. However, just more testing required. Guys, I brought this up at the beginning too. Keep an eye on your collection. A lot of reprints in Foundations. I've been trying to bring it up as much as possible. I actually don't know if it's worth bringing up, but you know, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I repeat myself too much with this stuff, but look, this is an older version of Ghalta. If for some reason you decide you want to craft this deck list or something, just keep an eye on your collection. You really have to go out of your way to see if you have some of these older cards sometimes. And I hope that changes in the future, right? If we look up Ghalta right now, for example, how do I even look at the newer versions? First of all, you got to go not collected, right? And then we can go like this. And then there's all the different versions of Ghalta that we have not collected. There's the ones from Foundations. As you guys can see, I have none of those. Some different artwork ones too. This one looks like it's from Jumpstart. So honestly, I don't know, when you import a deck list and you don't have that version of Ghalta, and maybe you have this Jumpstart version, does the imported deck list automatically trade that out? I'm not certain on that. You guys, again, let me know in the comments. I'm not really sure. If it does automatically trade out, then I guess I could probably stop bringing that up right about now, right? That would be pretty good. Just in case it doesn't trade out, which I feel like it doesn't, just keep an eye on all the reprints and everything. So for Tail Swipe, you guys agree with that or not? We got 15 2-drops packed in. 24 mana makes so much sense to me, as first of all, if you don't see your 2-on-2, why didn't you mulligan? But second of all, you're going to want your 4-on-4, even though we don't have too many 4-drops in here. You want to go 2 2-drops or a 2-drop into some of your combat tricks. I'll tell you what, 4th turn, and you actually have a couple of your 2-drops already established from turn 2 and 3 into like a Tail Swipe. Pop their most important chump blocker, then a swing. They block with something else. Monstrous Rage. Bro, the opponent's in so much trouble at that point, you know? Something else I could see. Now that we went up a Tail Swipe, which I think is going to be a little bit better than Primal Might in here, you could probably drop 1 Primal Might and go up again, another just chunky top-end creature. So for Garruk's Uprising, you guys let me know, was this worthwhile? Just another way to give trample to our creatures, draw when you play Cerberus, or if you have Cerberus on the board, draw if you play Hugs, Dragonhawk, Ghalta. Outside of that, too, if you already have a boosted card on the board, too, like, for example, Sentry, having a Monstrous Rage, gets to keep that +1/+1 from the monster roll. And it also keeps the trample too. Now Sentry's a 4/4. Again, you can play Uprising after that. It replaces itself. Now the Sentry, well, it already has trample for Monstrous Rage, but you guys know what I mean. Similar concept with the +1/+1 on the Tail Swipe too, with cards like that. Or maybe you swung in. Yeah, maybe you swung in with a boosted Monstrous Rage Ruby, which would get an extra +2/+2 as well. At that point, though, it only needed the Monstrous Rage for the Garruk's Uprising. I'm trying to, like, solve this riddle of Garruk's Uprising. Also, the Uprising is also one. How do you spell Garruk? Okay. Garruk's Uprising. I'm playing with the Fancy Pants version. You can also just play with the Foundations version, right? And it looks like it was around in M21, actually. Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah. Guys, let me know in the comments. What would you add or take out? What did you think of the deck list? I actually think it's really neat. Yeah, I like it. I think that potentially we got a little unlucky today in some of those games, but at the same time, it could easily be the deck list and how we actually have it set up. Look, man, it's not like the greatest curve in the world, but again, that's why I said when you have this many 2-drops, you want to see your 4-on-4 because sometimes your 4-drops are just two 2-drops, and sometimes deck lists really appreciate that. I think this is one of those deck lists too. So a little bit of ramp with the Ruby too. I think maybe some more ramp could go pretty well in here too. Llanowar Elves probably doesn't make the cut though. However, if you're not a big fan of the Garruk's Uprising, if you drop a couple of these, you go down to 2, I could potentially see a couple Llanowar Elves. Because turn 1 Llanowar Elves, that's tricky though. It's a little better to have 3-drops then. Turn 1 Elves into your 3-drop on turn 2. Over Elves into one of your 2-drops, and then on turn 3, ramping into your 4-drops. That's similar to what the Ruby's doing anyways. That's tricky. What would you guys add if you drop a couple Uprisings? Uprising also might be a card where we want to try this out in Gruul Prowess or something, because then when you actually play it, you get the Prowess boosts, since it's an enchantment too, right? So this might be a little bit excessive. Maybe we drop one down to 3 and go up that other Hugs, because I really like Hugs. But I also don't want to drop an uncommon and go up a Mythic too. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is tough. It's a similar concept to Dragonhawk too. If I drop a Garruk's Uprising and go up a Dragonhawk, that's also going up a Mythic. So I think I'm just not going to change anything, but I really am thinking about like 3 Uprisings, going up something decent. There's also some other ferocious cards that we didn't get to see today. The Phoenix, or that I didn't play with today, I should say. Flamewake Phoenix is kind of interesting. It has that ferocious at the bottom. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you can pay a red, and if you do, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's really interesting. It's just a 2/2 though, so, but overall, also, this creature attacks each combat if able. Is kind of a downside, but you're probably wanting to attack with it anyways. And the double red source and the casting cost could be a problem. Also needing to keep a red source open to bring it back could be a problem too. But that could be one that you potentially drop the Garruk's Uprising down to 3 and go up a Flamewake Phoenix. Could be pretty cool. But I'm kind of leaning towards another Hugs, or I guess another creature of your choice that actually enters with the power 4 or greater and doesn't rely on extra boosts and stuff. So yeah. Something to consider, I suppose, huh? Also, dropping the Hallandale and going up the tail swipe also rearranged. Now we're 61% green and 56% red. I think we're still okay, though. I'm still leaning towards the Verge is not going to hold you up. Unless you only see Verge, and then that might actually be a mulligan if you only have Verge in your hand, right? But also depends what your hand looks like, too. But like Verge, a couple Verge and a Fabled Passage, totally keepable. You're going to grab a green source on the Passage probably, then your Verge is just absolutely terrific. Dual-colored Gruul. All right, guys. Enough rambling, huh? If you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.